here to make a new type of news.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Making news just for you. It's January 12th here in Seoul. I'm Shin-Yoon, and you're watching News Generation. Joining me in the studio is Chiti.
Good morning.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. As usual, let's start with our news feed, which covers different hashtags and news items that have been trending on social media over the past 24 hours. Our first story, Vice Chairman of Shinsegae Group Chung Yong-jin visited the headquarters of SM Entertainment on Wednesday. SM Entertainment manages big label K-pop stars like SHINee and EXO. The Vice Chairman posted several photos on his Instagram with some SM Entertainment artists inside the building. His caption read, "I came to SM for an audition, cheer for me." Chung has been active on social media, interacting with potential consumers. Breaking free from his rugged image as a conglomerate executive, Chung has transitioned into an approachable older brother-like figure and amassed over 830,000 followers. Moving on to news in France, Gabriel Attal, the 34-year-old French education minister, has been named as the country's new prime minister. This makes Attal France's youngest ever prime minister and the first openly gay man to serve in the post. Since his step up, Attal said he would prioritize education, economic liberalization, and youth development during his tenure. Even as he was serving as education minister, Attal strong-headedly enacted many measures, including a controversial ban on the wearing of abaya in French public schools. And recently, an anonymous post uploaded on an online community of office workers went viral. The post asked how much one had to pay when attending the funeral of a coworker's pet dog. This individual was asked to go to their coworker's pet funeral, and once they arrived, saw a bereavement box. They ended up paying around $38, but didn't know if this was necessary. Now, netizens who read the post had split opinions. One side said pets are equivalent to family, and therefore the culture of throwing a pet funeral and leaving bereavement boxes should be considered the norm now. In other parts of the world, such as the US, Germany, and Japan, pet funerals are common, and there's many businesses dealing with pet loss therapy or pet funeral procedures, and South Korea is steadily seeing this sort of pet funeral cultural boom. There's around 68 licensed pet funeral service companies in Korea, and that's because as of last year, over 12.6 million Koreans had pets. But another standing argument was that many people don't even invite their coworkers to the funerals of their relatives these days, and therefore having a pet funeral seems to be over the top. They even said asking for bereavement money was too excessive. Now here in the studio, Kyun, I know you don't have a pet, so you may not really relate to this story, but I am quite curious as to what you think.
That's right, I don't have a pet, but I do understand people who do have pets as they treat them as family members. But you know, inviting people to funerals and weddings has become a tricky issue ever since the pandemic, and especially here in Korea, because less and less people are getting married,
Right.
it's become even more tricky to actually attend and like send gift money as well, because the culture here in Korea is a little different to other countries in terms of these events, as condolence money and gift money is given with the thought of actually receiving it back in the future. But obviously, that's not going to be the case moving forward. But I think in this certain case, asking for bereavement money seems a little too much because it can make things awkward back at work, in terms of relationships.
Right.
Like, because obviously this person doesn't have a pet, and obviously she's not going to invite her to her, pet funeral.
Right.
But I think if you're the bigger and the better person, maybe you should just understand and move on and just let it be.
Let it be. But you mentioned a really good cultural point there. I think Korea has this strong give and take culture,
Right.
especially when it comes to bereavement money or wedding gifts. And as you mentioned, if the other person doesn't have a pet, I think you have to be the bigger person there, just thinking that you're giving that dollars without having to receive it back. But as a pet owner yourself, what did you think about the story?
I thought it was quite interesting, and like you said, I'm a pet owner, but I've never thought of holding a funeral for my dog.
Oh, really?
I don't want to imagine it, but if it had to, but I think it's a trend that we could see in the near future, perhaps, because we're seeing more people and families owning pets, raising pets. But like Ki-hoon mentioned, we have that give and take culture.
Right.
So for those who don't own pets, I think they could feel as if they could be a little reluctant to
Right.
pay these bereavement money. But I'm not sure. I mean, like some people, people who don't own pets, they might find it a little excessive to pay if they don't own these pets.
I think it's all about perspective, but I think one thing that our generation is leading these days, as I briefly mentioned before, is there's now a culture where we don't really find the need to invite our coworkers or even friends to our relatives' funerals because we think that even that might be a little excessive. And I think that is definitely a different cultural, societal norm that we're trying to lead. We'll have to see how this pet funeral culture goes from now on. But switching gears to our main discussion topic, yesterday we talked about how South Korea is heading into a super age society. It's definitely a demographic issue we need to keep an eye out for, given that we'll become seniors one day and declining birth rates would exacerbate our burden once we become older. Now, though aging is inevitable, it seems like our generation is trying its best to delay the process as much as possible. My AI voice secretary will tell you more.
Gen Z is already anxious about looking older, even though the oldest among them is around 27 years old and they're typically associated with the term woke. This generation is opting for makeup products with anti-aging benefits, such as wrinkle reduction or stronger SPF protection. Earlier this year, a TikTok titled "Things I Do to Slow the Aging Process" as a 14-year-old even went viral.
Gen Z seems to be obsessed with anti-aging, and I think it mainly has to do with our generation's preference for healthy pleasure that's obtaining satisfaction or happiness by keeping ourselves physically and mentally healthy. Now, here in the studio, Chi, why do you think our generation prioritizes health so much from an early age?
Well, nowadays, I think young people, they don't consider investing in themselves as a waste of money because they highly value themselves. Like we said, they're very self-focused, and this generation is particularly concerned about their health, both internally and externally. And Generation Z is even more health conscious as they start taking vitamins, lutein, probiotics, and other nutritional supplements early on, in addition to maintaining a regular exercise and a healthy lifestyle as well. And it's not uncommon for them to have gym memberships or home gyms. And taking care of oneself is considered very important amongst all of us, really. And they even take genetic tests. And we've mentioned this earlier before as well. And I've even taken one myself to identify areas of vulnerability and start caring for them in advance. And I've also started paying more attention to my health and aging since I've turned 30 as well.
Exactly. So it's not only referring to Gen Z, but I think young adults in general seem to be really prioritizing their health. Kyun, why do you think our generation is doing that from a relatively young age, though?
Well, I think another reason could be the tendency of the younger generation being a bit more sensitive to following different kinds of trends, and living a healthy lifestyle is definitely one of them. And there's also tons of millions of information available, and we being the digital natives, we're exposed to different types of health-related contents and programs. Hence, even if you weren't interested in taking care of your health, your best friend or even your virtual friends online could be really interested in this kind of topic. Hence, with the fear of missing out, the next thing you could be doing would be like home training, taking all these different types of supplements that helps with, anti-aging or, getting rid of your wrinkles or whatnot. And even going to the plastic surgery, for a Botox or like a filler shot.
Yeah, I think that's a point that I would now like to focus on. Because we value maintaining our health from an early age, there's so many efforts we put in to keep ourselves from aging. And as we briefly saw in the introductory video, there's even a TikTok video that went viral showing a 14-year-old getting Botox in order to anti-age. So tell us more about just how exactly many young adults are prioritizing anti-aging, especially when it comes to our appearance.
Well, a 14-year-old getting a Botox is too much. But the craze for anti-aging has gripped youngsters, as indicated by the billions of views of related content on TikTok. And the hashtags anti-aging, Botox, they've all respectively been viewed 7.9 billion times, 10.2 billion times, and even wrinkles 2.5 billion times. And both genders are interested in anti-aging routines. That's also a characteristic we can see. It's not just the women, it's not gender stereotypical, but both genders are very interested in self-caring and they share their routines online. And it's not just about external appearance, like I said, they also care a lot about their inner beauty.
I think that's a very good thing as well. They don't want to age not only just on the outside, but also in the inside. They're thinking of anti-aging in both perspectives. Would you like to add on?
Do I look beautiful on the inside?
You do.
Can you tell?
You glow.
A little, I
A little. No, I was actually quite surprised to see that video go viral as well. The only thing I did when I was 14 to my skin was probably just apply sunscreen.
Oh,
because
that's good.
if you live in Australia, you're bound to get a sunburn.
That's so true.
It's a must. But besides getting Botox or fillers to get rid of wrinkles, many young adults spend a lot of money on cosmetic products. You know, applying sunscreen, like I said, that's SPF like 50 plus is a must on a daily basis, along with purchasing like high-end cosmetic products that are, you know, like anti-wrinkle products, like eye creams, and also even face taping. Like, have you guys heard of face taping?
Taping?
What's that?
You tape your face.
It's a new trend that's happening all over the world. You basically place a tape on your face overnight, where you like. There tend to be like lines like on your forehead, under your eyes, or like this part here.
Wrinkle areas.
And so it prevents wrinkles and gives, you know, existing wrinkles a temporary, more lifted, smoother appearance overnight. So it's
like a
very
Botox.
temporary. It's kind of like Botox. but
Botox at home.
at home, and it's a much cheaper method to do. But you know, there is no scientific evidence saying that it does prevent you know, wrinkles or like just straightens the lines out even more. And there are also side effects like, you know, skin irritations if you use it repeatedly. So I mean, yeah, if you want to try it out, but if you do it excessively, you'll obviously experience a lot of side effects.
That's a good point. There are definitely side effects. And if I may add on, I think another reason why our generation is fixated on anti-aging is because on media, we see like 50-something-year-olds or 60-something-year-olds still look like in their 20s and 30s. That sort of pressures our generation into having to catch up. You know, we want to maintain this beautiful, young-looking, youthful spirit on our appearance. And though it could be going in the right direction, there are some health side effects that we need to be considering, as well as some psychological side effects as well. We'll be covering that very soon. But in the meantime, we asked our viewers to share their own hacks on how to stay healthy and avoid aging. Here's what 3 of them had to say. Take a look at the screen to find out. Let's start with Hannah. Hannah said, regular exercise, a balanced diet, and ample sleep keep me feeling my best. Stress management is key for me, so I practice meditation and spend quality time with my loved ones. Bendy D97 said, I wash my face because my face is sensitive and I wanted my face fresh. And of course, I eat slowly. Recently, I ate a lot, but I plan to keep my food stable depending on the loads of servings. Always helping my daily anti-aging routine, even in current situations. Now, Arirang said, trying not to drink alcohol much, working out at least 3 times a week, and high quality of sleep. You know what? I agree with all of these different hacks our viewers gave, but it's much easier said than done. But to better find out the psychology behind this prioritization of exterior health and beauty, we're going to include a counselor. Stay tuned for a live interview. We're going to talk to an intern counselor at U&Me Psychological and Counseling Services. It's Eun-jung. Welcome, Eun-jung.
Hello.
All right, Eun-jung, because you're an intern counselor, we would like to add a psychological perspective to our discussion. What do you think is the mentality behind young adults and young as even teens? Why are they trying to go for anti-aging products and procedures at such a young age?
I think the psychology behind this is mainly stems from the beauty standards of the society. Looking ageless, flawless, regardless of your age, has been known as the beauty standards for a long time. So wanting to fit into this beauty standard It's causing young adults to pursue anti-aging more. And also the social media is having a great impact. It's promoting that the younger or the earlier that you start preventing your youth, that's more effective. And I think these are the motives that drives young adults and the teens into anti-aging. And we can also consider the wellness culture of this younger generation. So physical, mental, and emotional wellness is very important to this generation and often emphasized. And anti-aging is also viewed as part of that wellness culture.
I see, Injong. So do you think this type of mentality is positive, or are there any drawbacks?
If we look anti-aging as part of wellness, I think looking for the product or the procedures that can also be viewed as a self-care. But if it goes to the point where the 14-year-old getting a Botox or something like that, I think it does not have a positive effect on accepting that aging is a natural process of life. Yeah.
Right, and everything in moderation. Finally, what is the most effective way to pursue anti-aging in a healthy way?
I think the most effective way to pursue anti-aging would be practicing a healthy mind and body, not just a look. So eating healthy, exercising, including having a healthy mindset also. So accepting the fact that aging is a natural and inevitable process of life. And also practicing some self-compassion, being kind to yourself as you witness the aging process. So maybe having or giving yourself some space for wrinkles. And yeah, and interestingly, I think considering this negative mindset of the word anti-aging, some cosmetic industries, they're changing their word from anti-aging to slow aging. So accepting the fact that aging is something that everybody goes through. You can only slow it down a little bit, but you will eventually get there. So it's just accepting
I
it
think you mentioned it very well. I think there is a slight difference in nuance. Anti-aging and slow aging, I think the latter shows that we're accepting it and we're okay to be aging. I think that's the perspective we'll try to do from today. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, before we wrap up, I'd like to ask you guys two questions. And my first one is, what do you guys feel about aging personally? I mean, we are now in the new year, and personally for me, I was a little upset. I think as Eunjung said, I should be accepting that I have a few more wrinkles on my face now, and then I'm getting older. But then it's really hard to do that. But personally for you, do you feel happy that you're aging year by year?
I like the wrinkles on
That's a nice way to
near
think.
my eyes because it represents the smiles that I've had in the past.
Not the frowns.
Not the frowns.
smiles.
The smiles. The frowns would be here, you know.
Exactly.
I don't have
Different
wrinkles
part,
there.
yes.
Anyway, so I believe it's not wise to go against the natural process of aging, as Eunjung said, because anti-aging, despite its name, is actually about maintaining good health and
Right.
embracing life to the fullest. And it's all about attitude and mindset, I think. I find it disheartening when people in their 30s, including myself, consider themselves old and worn out already, because I myself am grateful to be healthy and energetic in my 30s, and I hope to continue feeling that way throughout my life. And in fact, my mother turned 60 this year, and she's started training as a senior model, and she told me,
Really?
yes,
Oh, wow.
and she told me that she's no longer afraid of aging. So the best way to age gracefully is to stay healthy, think positively, and do what you love and be happy.
You know, Chi, you answered my second question right off the bat
Oh,
without
yeah.
even me asking, because I was going to ask, then how should we accept aging? But before I do that to you, Q, let's go with the first question. What do you feel about the aging process?
I wasn't so happy, aging because I have a funny story to tell. I do have an older brother, and whenever we would meet someone for the first time, they would always ask us, so who's the older one?
Right.
And I would always say, oh, take a guess.
Yeah.
And they will always look at me. You must be the older one. You have to be. And I would be like, no, I'm the younger one.
Yeah.
And they'll be all surprised, saying,
Yeah.
oh, what happened to you guys? And I'll be like, yeah, I guess, I don't know, what did happen? But that started from my 20s.
Oh, really?
And right now, things are a little different. My face is pretty much the same from my 20s.
Oh, okay.
So people who age at an early age, they continue this kind of face. So I'm trying to think positively, but I think it's only the first impression that people really care about at that moment.
Right.
But look, we've met each other for a long, long time. I think it's more about what kind of person you are on the inside that people get to know about, because first impressions, they do count, but that's not everything.
It isn't.
And which correlates to looks.
Right.
Looks isn't everything. It's more about your personality, your
Exactly.
characteristics, what you value the most, and what you're interested in on the inside, and the mindset as well. So people who actually said, you must be the older one, what happened to your face, why do you look so old? Those are the ones that actually became close to me.
Yeah.
And we became closer friends
Yeah.
compared to my brother. I'm not saying my brother's not a sociable person, but he looks young, very,
Yeah.
he doesn't look like a child, but he looks much younger than me, but
Yeah.
that's not everything.
If I take that
Yes.
on, you're saying that it's more important that we try to slow age when it comes to our mental state. And in that sense, how can we gracefully age then?
Just like what Eunjung mentioned, having a balanced diet, exercising regularly, sleeping well. These are just basic
Right.
things that we all know. It's very obvious, but it's actually hard to keep. So my New Year's resolution is actually just those kind of things. Sleeping well, just writing a diary as well, like appreciative diary, exercising regularly, just going for a walk, and just clearing your mind, and spending time by yourself is really important, because
Exactly.
the more you spend time with other people and on social media, you start comparing yourself with other
Exactly.
people, and you become very small as a
Right.
person. So just build your character more.
Building your character. And as I mentioned before, in the beginning of the year, I was a little upset that I was aging. But throughout our discussion today, what I realized is accept the fact that you're aging. It's inevitable. Everyone's going to get there one day. But the more important thing is to look back at yourself, your individual mindset and your mentality, and see whether it's going in a healthy way or not, because that's most important. Anti-aging inside. Now, in the meantime, we'll be here every day from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Korea time, bringing you more topics young people are talking about. Special thanks to Choi Ji-hee
Thank you.
and Park Ki-hoon.
Always a pleasure.
All right, and thank you everyone for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. We are News Generation.